Hello guys, alright, in this part you're going to have the second review for the test, but a little bit more in detail and with other activities so you can try and do them. I will guide you step by step on this review. So the first part that you have are relative clauses. Remember we said relative clauses is the idea to link, to join two sentences, alright? So relative clauses are always introduced with the pronouns, relative pronouns. They tell us more things, more details about people or things. Remember the idea was to use who, whose, where, which, or that. So for example, you have here Spike is the dog. You would have to complete. Okay, what could I use here? So you have which. I would complete using the relative pronoun which. So Spike is the dog which I found in the street. I complete the sentence using which because which I can use for animals or for things. In this case it's an animal, so I'm going to use the which. I wouldn't use who because who is for people. Unless you think your dog is like it's a person to you, well, but it's the correct form will be which, okay? So in this next part you're gonna find like sentences and you would have to complete with the correct form. More or less like this, you would see it in the test. That's why you have it here as a practice. So this will be like a mock test, an example of how the test is going to be. So you have, for example, the first one, Richard is a friend. With which of these would you complete it? A, which, B, where, C, who. So Richard is a friend, learns languages easily. All right, so which is the correct form? You decide, you write it down, think about it, and I will tell you the answer, but I want you to think, okay? For me, you get a paper, number one would be whatever, okay? Just to remind you that which are for things, where is for places, who is for people, who or that for people, which or that for things, and where for places. Okay, number two would be last week I saw someone I used to date in college. Which is correct here? Where, that, or which? Okay, so think about it, write the answer. Very good. Okay, then you have number three. Number three would be I'm taking a class my friend told me about. So you have the options once again, who, whose, which. How would you complete this sentence? I'm taking a class who, whose, or which my friend told me about. Think about the answer, okay? And you let me know, all right? Okay, so very well, then you have the answers. Can you see? Okay, so Richard is a friend. Very good if you put who. Richard is a friend who learns languages easily. Okay, very well. The second one. Last week, I saw someone that, very good, I used to date in college. All right, because you don't have you have where, that, and which. That is for people, okay? So the third one, I'm taking a class which my friend told me about, okay? So you're talking about the class, that's why you use which. Very well. Let's see the next one then. Very well. Number four, the same thing, the same idea here. You have to complete using the correct relative pronoun in this case. So you have number 4, I used to be in a relationship. Who, that, or where made me very unhappy. So which would be correct? Think about it, write it down as you wish, but remember, something like this is what you're going to see in the midterm test next week. Alright, you completed it? Very well then. In number 5 you have, I'm in class. Who my friend told me about, whose my friend told me about, or which my friend told me about. I'm in a class. Which of those would you complete, A, B, or C? Think about it. Okay, let's see number 6. I have joined a club. Whose organizes activities for single people? Who organizes activities for single people, or which organizes activities for single people? So in your opinion, which is the correct, A, B, or C? Think about it. Check. Very well, and there you have the answers. I used to be in a relationship that made me very unhappy. Okay, the only possibility was that one. We're talking about relationships, right? The other one, number 5, I'm in a class which my friend told me about. You're talking about that class. So it's something, which, okay? Then you have number 6, I have joined a club, also, which organizes activities for single people, all right? I'm talking about something, a club, I use which. So if you got them all correct, good job, that's great, very good. And if you didn't, you got one wrong, that's the idea of this review. For you to practice a little bit more, for you to notice how the test is going to be, and obviously, if not, you're learning, right? So don't worry if you did not get all the activities correct, and if you did, well, that's the idea. Good job, good job. Another part that you're going to see in the test is the use of the phrasal verbs. So remember, phrasal verbs, you have a preposition or an adverb. So you have some examples here: break up, go away, go out, grow up, settle down, turn out, hang out. Remember, in a previous recorded class, you have the meaning of these phrasal verbs, okay? If not, you can always check it in the dictionary as you wish. But you remember the previous recordings are really going to help you to study for the test as well. So how would you have it in the test? You have here, for example, my sister is living in Australia now. So you would have to replace it for the correct form of the phrasal verb that I will give you. But the option here, you have it underlined. My sister has settled down, okay, in Australia. When you settle down is when you're living in a place for such a time and you have everything sorted out already. You have your own place, or you have a house where to live, you have your furniture, the stuff you need, you have a work, okay, a job. Well, that's the idea, okay? So the next activities is precisely that. You have here the choices of the phrasal verbs on the right, and you have here in bold the verb that you will have to change, or the phrase that you have to change with one of the phrasal verbs you have on the right. So for example, my sister is always spending time at the mall. How would you, or which word, phrasal verb, would you substitute spending time with? Okay, think about it, make your choice, write it, think about it. I'm going to give you some time and then I will tell you the answers, remember. Okay, number 2, my cousin and I spent our childhood together. The idea of spent our childhood, which phrasal verb would you substitute it with? Okay, Then you have number 3, my brother wants to get married. My brother wants to, which verb? Okay, number 4, my date ended well. Ended with what would you complete it with? Eliminate ended and substitute for the phrasal verb you have in the right. And number 5, my friends have dated for a while. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few seconds. Think about it. Make your pick. You have to remember the meaning of the phrasal verbs, and that's how you're going to have it in the test. Okay, just giving you a little bit of time. Very well. If your answers were hang out, my sister hangs out at the mall. Okay? Remember the previous one? My sister is always spending time at the mall. So she hangs out at the mall. Okay? The second one, my cousin and I grew up together. How was the original? My cousin and I spent our childhood together. Okay? Imagine you grow up with your cousin. So, my cousin and I grew up together. Very good, very good. The third one, you had, my brother wants to get married. So you would have the correct form, my brother wants to settle down. Okay? Settle down como, en este caso, asentar la cabeza, you know, you want to settle down. Number 4, you had, my date ended well. You were in a romantic relation, your date ended well. So the correct answer would be, my date turned out well. Okay? Then the previous one was, my friends have dated for a while. And the option here, my friends have gone out for a while. So once again, you can see the use of the phrasal verbs, right? Okay. Excellent then, if you got them all correct. If you got one wrong, it's still very good, okay? That means that you understood the meaning of the phrasal verbs and you know what you have to do. Very well then. Good job. Excellent. Then the next part you have is the use of the wish and the conditional forms, okay? Wish. Remember, wish, we use it for situations that I express in present and future, right? So, as we explained in all the previous, or in one of the previous videos, you had the use of wish, and you have to use the past form of the verb all the time, okay? And when I use this, it's the opposite, okay? The opposite is true. So let's look at an example you have here. I wish you are going to be given like a word, a verb in parentheses, right? A larger circle of friends. So which is the correct form? I wish, the past of have is had. So I wish I had a larger circle of friends. So it's very important that you remember that when you use wish, I have to use the past form of the verb. Okay? All right. So you have, in the case of the conditional, I always use the second conditional when the situation is unreal, is hypothetical, it's not true. So remember, you do have a structure, a formula. You have the if, a subject. I have to use the past tense. Then I have the subject, a modal verb, which could be would or could, and then the verb in its base form or infinitive form. For example, if you, in parentheses, the verb go, to bed earlier, you, in parentheses, not be so tired. So how would I complete it, taking into account the formula that you have there? It would be like this. If you went, because went is the past, yeah? So I have if, the subject you, went is the past of go, to bed earlier, then I have subject you, the subject, you, then I have the modal verb wouldn't, okay? Because I'm telling you that I need it in negative, okay? Not means negative, so I say wouldn't. Be, that's the verb I'm giving you, so tired. So let's repeat how it would be in the correct form. If you went to bed earlier, you wouldn't be so tired. Especially on Mondays, right? Normally we go to bed a bit later, but then we're tired on Monday. Okay, so that's the idea. You got it? So remember, stick to the formula. You use the past tense of the verb and you have to use would or could in short, okay? So in the test, you're going to see something like this. You're going to have some sentences and you know if you have wish, I use, very good, the past. And if I'm using a conditional, if, right, I use the past tense and then I will use could or would plus the verb I have there. So let's see the first one. This is what you have. I wish I not have to wake up so early in the morning. If I get up a little later, I able to eat a good breakfast. So remember, rule number 1, remember the formula, okay? With wish, I use past, okay? You do it, I'm not going to tell you anymore. Think about it. How would you change it? Okay, very well. Number 2, remember you can always click on pause so you can finish. If I'm speaking too fast for you, you pause the video and then I give you more time. Yeah? Number 2, I wish I not live so far away. If I be happier. Okay? So I am joining the idea of using wish and the idea of using the if clause. All right? Then I have the third one. I wish I, in parentheses, afford to move to another house. So how would you change it? Okay. Then number 4, what would you do if, in parentheses, you get a job offer in another city? It's a question, all right? So here I would use, what would you use? You accept it. This number 4 is a little conversation. You have A and you have B. Then the B says, no, my family lives here. I would miss them too much. Okay, so once again, think about it. Pause the video so it can give you enough time for you to complete. Then you have number 5. I wish I, in parentheses, have a larger circle of friends. So similar to the one you have. So now you should be experts. If I, parentheses, know more people, I not spend so many evenings by myself. Okay, so do it, think about it, and then you can check the answers. So what would the answer be? The first one, I wish I didn't have to wake up so early. Remember, with wish, I use the past tense. So the past here would be didn't, okay, and it's negative. Then you have the conditional. If I could, okay, I use the could or would, in this case is could. If I could get up a little later, I would be able to eat a good breakfast. Okay, so you can see there the use of the structures that we studied. All right, let's see the second one. The answer would be, I wish I wouldn't live so far away. If I had an apartment in town, I would be happier. So, wish obviously accepts a past tense. That's why I put wouldn't live. Then you have the conditional if I had. Had is past, and then you use the would. Remember? Okay, would be happier. Okay, so at the end, I wish I wouldn't live so far away. If I had an apartment in town, I would be happier. The third one, you're going to be given the verb in parentheses. It's afford, so you have to use the past. I wish I could afford, okay, to move to another house. So you're thinking in future, if you had the money, okay, I wish I could afford to move. That would be the correct form. Okay, it all depends on what you're saying, what you mean. Yeah. Okay, then you have number 4. The correct choice was, what would you do if you got, because you have to use the past form. So what would you do if you got a good job offer in another city? The question is a question. Would you accept it? Okay, remember when it's a question, I have to flip. I have to use the modal verb first. Okay, if you cannot remember this part, I really recommend you to check on the video where you have the explanation of this. Okay, the videos can also help you review for the test. Then the answer would be, no, I wouldn't. My family lives here. I'd miss them too much. So that was the correct one. I hope you got it okay. And then the last one, I wish the past of have is had. I wish I had a larger circle of friends. If I knew more people, I wouldn't spend so many evenings by myself. Okay. So there you have, guys, the use of, once again, wish, and you have the use of the would, the conditional if. So if I knew more people, I wouldn't spend so many evenings by myself. Very well. How did you do? You got everything okay? So you're ready for the test then? Bring it on, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm going to do this test in the best way. Yeah, if you feel prepared. If you didn't get them all correct, once again, watch the other videos little by little. I'm sure you're going to get them correct. Okay, and you do the sentences again. You have the answers to help you, so go ahead. Yeah? So that will be all for now. This was the second review for the test. I hope you will do okay. I wish you the very best. So good luck on your exam. Yeah? Any other further comments? You can always write to me. Always get in touch. Okay, so that will be all for now. So take care. I wish you the very best. Very well. Bye-bye then.